on fast cars.
Hello, ladies.
This is Women Take the Wheel.
Sit down, strap in, and turn on all you've got.
Nikki Clark is taking you behind the scenes.
You're ready to win. Let me tell you, these cars, they get up and go pretty good.
Introducing you to women drivers, crew members, and fans of the racing world. Plus, Nikki is bringing you the latest racing news in Indiana and beyond.
We're going to bring it to you from the tower as they get ready to pull into the beams.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
All right, strap yourselves in.
Woo! Getting off the track and in your ears. This is Women Take the Wheel.
Come on, baby.
With your hosts,
Here we go.
Nikki Clark.
Hi, I'm Nikki Clark, your host for Women Take the Wheel here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And on this episode, I have top alcohol dragster driver McKenna Bold. She is the Central Region Champion in her class. We had a great conversation about why junior drag racing holds such a special place in her heart and the benefits for kids going through the program. We also talk about her first alcohol win in Norwalk with Randy Meyer Racing and also her special bond she has with her family. She even shares a race car with her dad. Stay tuned for that story.
Your day moves fast. Your news should too. That's why there's a new and improved Wish TV app bringing you more local news, breaking alerts, live streaming, weather forecast, radar, and Indiana sports all in one place. Customize your news feed to see the stories that matter most to you and get the information you need when you need it. Download the new and improved Wish TV app today on iOS or Android and take News 8 with you everywhere.
And welcome to another Women Take the Wheel. I know I'm back in the podcast booth, and on the phone with me this week is McKenna Bold. How you doing, McKenna?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Wonderful. I'm a little bit chilly, and I know I told you I'm a northern girl, and I'm used to it, but I'm tired of it.
Yeah, no, I was lucky when I came back from the banquet. It was a little warmer here because it was about minus 40 when I left, so can't complain about not freezing my butt off right now.
That wasn't the wind chill. That was the actual temperature.
I think that was with the wind chill, yeah.
Still way too cold for me. No. So now we're thinking warm thoughts. I'm like, we're up to 15 degrees today. It's a heat wave.
Right? I know it's basically shirt and t-shirt weather right now. It's feeling like.
Oh yeah, I've been there, Minnesota girl. So it was just announced that you will be driving again a second full season with Randy Meyer Racing in Top Alcohol. Congratulations on that.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm super excited to get back into it. I feel like I've just been waiting for the season to start the whole time. Really, it was nice to get home and kind of get back into that routine just after being on the road for so long. But, I'm itching to get back into the car and burn some nitro with my team.
And you had a really good rookie season. I mean, you were your division champ, correct?
Yes, I was. So I won the Central Region Championship there. So it was truly a great year, especially just being my first year in the car.
And you're with a great team. I was telling her I used to live in Kansas City area and not too far from the Myers, and they're a great team to learn from. I mean, it's got to, I assume it kind of gives you advantage working with other women to kind of learn how to drive.
Yeah, exactly. When I got my license, Julie Natas was there, and then, I work really closely with Megan as well. Then obviously my crew chief, car owner, Randy, they really just accepted me, into their family, kind of just feeling like that third daughter. So it's been just an amazing experience for me thus far.
That is just so great. Like I said, it's just, and Julie and Megan are two of the best to learn from in an alcohol dragster. They're both champs. They're both great to learn from. And so I'll ask you later about some of your tips, but I want to go back to, I know you drive Top Alcohol Dragster. We've talked about that, but what are some other cars that you've driven? Like, what was your first car? Were you a junior girl?
Yeah, so I got into a junior dragster right as I could at 8 years old. I really grew up at the racetrack. My dad has been racing since the 80s, mainly bottom bulb, door car stuff. So, I sat in my first junior dragster when I was super young. It was actually Ashley Huffman's junior dragster, I believe, and
Really?
she ran Top Alcohol back when the Force girls were doing it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I just, I never stopped doing it or wanting to get into one. I probably annoyed the heck out of my parents, even at 4, 5, 6 years old, just when can I start doing this? So I ran juniors as long as I could up until I aged out at 17. And we have a really great junior dragster program up in Edmonton at Radtork Raceway. So I basically spent every single weekend there, was able to win a championship, race at the Memphis World Finals. So I, really started to kind of develop myself as a driver and, the top end racing. And then my dad sold his door car and bought a top dragster. Nice. And he sold it and bought it the year I aged out with probably full anticipation that he was going to drive it. Just wanted something faster and kind of, explore that top bulb racing. And then I asked him if I could drive it. And, he agreed and also thought that kind of stepping back and being the crew guy, just because he's, never done the top bulb stuff would be beneficial to him. So, he was tuning the car. I was driving it and had a really good year. That first year, I won 2 Wallies in top dragster, 2 big money bracket racing checks, was 3rd overall in points, I believe, that year, and also got rookie of the year. So I had a really good year with that. We have really great mentors up there as well. And then shared the seat with my dad up until I kind of made the switch to alcohol last year, and still do share with him a bit. I'm a bracket racer at heart, so I still love to do it and, do the womp womp at the top end and all of that. So really only drove those 2 cars before the alcohol. I did have, a couple teams back home where, they'd offer me to drive their car on occasion, but really just top dragster in the junior.
Well, I'm like, but you did them for years. It's not like you just did a couple of years. You did it for a long time.
Yeah, I think this year, was it like my 18th year or something? So yeah, I've been doing it for, as long as I can remember.
And I got to tell you, I'm loving the father-daughter thing. I mean, because I've had conversations with, girls before. It's like, who got you into racing? And lots of times it's the dad. But for you guys to actually share a race car, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it honestly, it really is. And there were some races, too, where when we're sharing the car, where the series I was running, maybe due to rainouts or whatever, we were racing on the same weekend. So he'd get in, run around in his class, then I'd hop in. So, it's just a really fun dynamic to share that with him. And then being that I actually had, a year of seat time in the car before he did, I felt like the ropes kind of changed a bit, where I was helping him out a little bit, just, with the delay box and all of that. Whereas, before that, he's the one who taught me how to drive the top end, right? When you're in a junior, especially when your parents race, you're 9 years old, learning how to drive the stripe. And I think that really helped mold the junior kids, into really good drivers as they get older. Cause, you already have like 10 years of experience racing the stripe by the time, you kind of start racing against the big guys. So really beneficial. And then, my mom is amazing. She comes to every race with us, keeps us level-headed, is always there to be a crew girl. I know my last year of juniors, when I won the championship, my dad was super busy at work. He really couldn't make it to a lot of races. So, it was just me and my mom. We were able to do it together. And, I've ran the top dragster a few times by myself, but I know the first time I did it without him, my mom was there. She's checking my tires in the lane. So it really is a family affair. And then now they're retired and they put on a lot of miles to come watch me when they can. And, my dad's even missed a few races back home just because he'd rather be watching me drive. So, I'm truly lucky to have the parents I do and the support I do.
I'm just loving that. And see, that's what, and you hit the nail on the head, because I've always said racing is such a family sport that people don't always understand, but especially with the juniors, I mean, they take you everywhere. They're just like a sports parent. I think they even do more than a sports parent, because most of them, like if you're a baseball dad, you're sitting on the sidelines watching, whereas a drag parent, they're in there working on it.
Yeah, and then too, like I played competitive hockey my whole life. I still do play a little bit in like just kind of adult league. So then, my mom was also always, they're taking you to hockey practice and to games, especially when, your dad's a shift worker. So, really great upbringing with that. And I've loved to, be able to share all these accomplishments with them.
Oh, hockey too. I'm like, you're a badass. And I'm like, I was a hockey cheerleader. I did not play it, but yeah, I'm like, and of course up in Canada, that's what you do. I tell the people, Northern people are built different. We crawl, walk, skate.
Yeah. Where I'm born, you're basically born with a pair of skates on, right?
Yeah.
So, I think my first year of, organized hockey, I was probably 4 years old. Oh, yeah. And the only reason I really started to step back on it was because, racing, when we'd have training camps, especially leading up to college and tryouts, like I'd be in a points battle and I would have to choose, okay, do I want to, win a championship or, go play AAA hockey? And so there was a time in my life where I had to make that decision and ultimately chose racing, but still love to put the skates on and, play some beer league and adult league.
I need a good skate. I haven't been skating for a while, but I love watching hockey. And now another thing with juniors too is now they get to start when they're 5.
I forget that all the time. That's crazy to me. Especially when you see, these little kids, they're up to my knee in height basically, and they're hopping in these juniors. But it's a great spot to develop. So, it's good to see them getting into it younger.
They are, and we had so much fun. I ended up going to the Division III banquet, and the junior kids were just amazing. And I met a couple of them. One of them, her dad used to be on a JFR crew, and we were talking, and she is just, Sean Bellamere, couldn't believe her. He's like, that girl's going places. I mean, the junior kids just impress the heck out of us.
I have such a special place in my heart for the junior kids, and, even the ones I've, been super lucky to mentor growing up, and now some of them, gosh, they're getting into top dragster now. So I'm just like, time one flies, but, even at our banquet last weekend, in my speech, I did take time to kind of address the junior kids, just because I think it is so important because they're the future of our sport.
Yep.
And they can really go to great places.
Yeah, and the fact that, too, that they're driving faster, than before they can get their license. Like I had Sydney Turner on, too, same thing. She could go, 90-plus miles an hour down a racetrack, but you couldn't drive from the racetrack or to the racetrack. But I just love that NHRA is doing that for the kids and getting them into it and the families into it. Preaching to the choir.
I completely agree. And I think it just, raises well-rounded kids, too. You learn at a young age to be a good sportsman and how to handle loss. I think all of us junior kids have been there where you lost and probably, cried in your race car a bit. But I think it just helps mold you into a really good individual.
Gosh, I love it. You're 100% correct. Because you do. Kids got to learn, it's not a participation trophy thing. You got to learn to win and lose.
Yeah, exactly. And some of those losses they're going to be hard losses.
Ooh, and I think some people still cry in their cockpit when they lose here at the end of the season. So you're not alone. And it's okay. Just let me keep my helmet on another minute. Just give me a minute. So let's talk about your racing last year, your great rookie year, and the fact that you got your first win at one of my favorite places at Norwalk. So tell me, talk a little bit about that win, because that was very cool. And you got the ice cream scoop, not just a Wally. You got the ice cream scoop.
That was honestly, probably the coolest days of my life. I didn't have the chance to run any, NHRA national events when I raced Top Dragster. It was being from Alberta, our closest one's probably Seattle. And just the time-wise, especially I was in school full-time, but I had always dreamed of hoisting a national event Wally. So we went into that weekend, and it started off so good. Was number one qualifier after Q1, was number one qualifier after Q2, and then Q3, obviously being number one qualifier, I'm the last one down the track. Someone had knocked me off of the number one qualifier. We went out, knocked them off number one, and went back to number one. So I got my first number one qualifier, and my best friends actually flew from Alberta to watch that race. So I had some really good support around me. And then, we went into race day, and I think, I personally just felt super confident in the car because I knew I had such a fast car, and, our times were faster than everyone else. So I was even just super confident in the driver's seat, and just my routine. I had gotten, more seat time at that point, and So I felt so confident heading into race day. My lights were really good and consistent, which is something coming into this, coming from Top Bulb, where I've always been really consistent on the tree, right? Like my lights normally won't move more than a few thou. So especially being in a nitro car leading from idle, I never wanted to lose on a hole shot. And I wanted to be one of the best leaders in the class and just, be really consistent, good lights. And, we were able to do that. So, heading into the finals against Sean Cowie,
tough competitor,
fellow Canadian, and also the world champion, so to get my first Wally, I was going to have to go through him. And it was a great race. I think I had him on the tree. I think I was 50, he was 100, and I could always kind of see him in my peripheral vision, that bracket racer tendency to look over, cross the finish line, and I knew we had done it, and just an overflow of emotions. I think, since I had, I'd won Wallies and big money races, I didn't expect it to feel a whole lot different, but holy crap, did it ever, I didn't really know how to process it, just the excitement, and then having your team come to the top end, Bruno pulling you one way for an interview, getting that Wally, which is a lot bigger than the ones you get when you win a regional or a divisional, the medal, and then, Bill Bader with the ice cream scoop, which I inevitably gave it to my car chief, Jake, after that race. So, it was just amazing. And then I think I still get starstruck because some of the first people who approached me after that win were, top fuel drivers and drivers that I have looked up to for so long. And remember, 10 years ago, being the person at the ropes, wanting a picture with them. And now they're walking up to me to congratulate me. So just kind of, a pinch me moment, and then shared the win too with the Bartone team. And, Sean gave me some really, great advice on just kind of savoring the moment. He's a really good talker and, good with words. So it was great to share it with them. We pit next to them a lot. So, we definitely developed a bond with those guys. So it was just a picture perfect weekend and having my best friends there. Unfortunately, my parents, that was the first national event they weren't at. I think it was my fourth one. So I remember really wishing, I'd see them on the golf cart coming to the top end. So that's kind of a 2026 goal, is to get one with them in present.
I'm like, that is so incredibly cool that you got to do that. And you're having your best friends there. That's the icing on the cake or the top of the ice cream.
I know. They're my number one fans. When you have people from back home who will fly 4 hours to come watch you race, in that heat too. I know I thought I was going to die a couple times just from heat stroke. I think it was Q2 on Friday. I got out of the car at the top end, and by the time my crew got there, I was kneeling beside my car, dumping water on me. I think I saw God. It was so hot.
Yes, at Norwalk, it's either boiling hot or freezing cold. And the same thing up at the Brainerd racetrack, too. Same thing. It's either hot or cold. You're not getting in the middle.
Exactly. So, that was, those were some tough conditions to battle. And then just, seeing my team just work nonstop in those conditions. I could go escape to the AC a few times, but, they didn't really have that luxury, especially with the quick turnarounds, especially, getting into Saturday and Sunday. So it's just really great watching all of them work and just kind of that team dynamic we have. And then, when you win that Wally, I sure wasn't feeling the heat the rest of the day. Just, so many emotions and adrenaline.
Yeah. And you got a great crew too. I know JJ and Jake and all them, they've got it down. They know how to get stuff done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And that is so cool. And so now we've unveiled our car for this year. And you have your sponsor back. That car is who came up with that? Like, did you come up with that design and colors and everything?
So me and Megan collaborate on them. She definitely does a lot of our design work. So I kind of give her an idea of what I want, so last year, I kind of say, hey, I wanted it to be flashy and look nice. I actually wanted it to have a lot more blue last year to kind of match the top dragster. And then I remember just getting this graphic sent to me with all the purple, kind of referencing my route from last year. And I was like, I think that's the one.
Yeah.
So then, I got a new suit and all that last year. And I really love the purple But with, needing a new wrap this year, I wanted to stick with those same colors. One, so I didn't to get another suit, but two, it's just the car got a lot of attention. The kids loved it. I had so many people come up to me, boys and girls who just, they loved the car. It was eye-catching, so I wanted to keep that element to it.
Good for you. And I just realized I'm looking at my notes and I skipped a question and I want to get to it too. That your rookie year, and you got to race in the Jegs All-Stars.
Yes, that was a super cool experience. And another thing that I kind of dreamed of growing up, a couple, Division 6 racers from back home, I saw them get to do it. And I did not think it would happen my first year, especially since, the points adding up starts the year before. And even with the region, it was a dogfight getting down to it, with me, Jamie Noonan, on gels at all of our regional races.
Yeah.
So I remember getting text messages from my teammate, basically round by round. And then he texted me and he's like, I think you're in, because Julie was the blocker. So only one of us could get in, and it came down to one round. So it was pretty exciting. It was such a cool experience. That whole Jegs All-Star deal and what they do for us sportsman racers. Jason Galvin does, a lot of really great things for us. So I have a lot of my kind of memorabilia from that in my office. So, I love to look back on it and see that and just know, we had such a good year leading up to that we were kind of able to get into it. And also we won the Norwalk Night Under Fire. So just we had just so much, we had so much just confidence heading into all of that. But Norwalk loves me. I love Norwalk. They call it America's racetrack, but this Canadian, it's her favorite racetrack too.
Yeah, I'm like, what'd the Canadian think of all the Texas with the Jegs All-Stars? How cool was that?
Oh, I love Texas. Texas is great.
I love it.
So,
I want to go there.
It was awesome.
They got In-N-Out Burger in Texas. That's why I go. That's my
Oh,
thing.
yes. I know. That's one thing I like, just being in the States, all these kind of places you see the Americans talk about.
Oh,
Get to go kind of, you go try them all and see what we're missing out.
Yeah, but you got Tim Hortons. And like we had one
here.
here.
With Timmy's.
We had Tim Hortons. It was only here for like 3 months and it went away. And I'm like, where did the Tim Hortons go? I love that.
Yeah, I don't think you can drive around here without seeing one on every corner. So.
That's okay. So, so you were talking about how, Sean was giving you advice. What is the best advice you've gotten from other drivers as you've moved up in the ranks? Who's giving you the best advice and what was it?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
I get one of them once in a while. I get a good question once in a while. Like I said,
God, I've gotten so much over my career, going into Top Dragster, I got a lot of good advice from Luke Bogacki and a lot of other top ball racers back home who really helped me out. I try to be really careful with who I take advice from, just because you'll hear what, everyone will have a different opinion. So I think it's pretty important to, be careful with who you're listening to. Yep. And, if you are getting advice, don't try a million things at once, right? If you're struggling or trying to change something, you got to kind of work through it. But one thing I think is really important for drivers to work on that, maybe sometimes gets overlooked is the mental aspect of racing. That can really derail a race weekend for you. When I was 18, 19, that was something I really took a lot of time to work on. And just, when you're going into a race, you qualified, you're meant to be there. Regardless of who you're racing, you got to be there. You got to run your race. You have a plan heading into that race, and you got to execute it and, not let the mental stuff affect you, right? You don't want to go up there and mess up on the tree, your procedure, or the top end because, maybe you're stressed out about the run itself. So I think working on that as you grow up and get into racing is really important. And, I even had to kind of revisit that this year, going from bracket racing to nitro racing, where it's so much of it is on the car and the tune-up. And obviously what you do as a driver, leaving on time and your routine and, just your clutch work and all that. But, sometimes as a driver, you'll do everything you can and the car maybe just isn't there. So that was one thing, just with a couple of losses where it's like, man, I couldn't do anything. So I, even had to, change my mindset this year just to not let that kind of stuff get to me and affect me. So yeah, I think that's, important for drivers to work on. And even just, I had a pretty bad habit of counting points throughout my career. And, that would kind of stress me out sometimes, especially, when you're first, second, or third, and there's only one round separating you. I know kind of one of the best seasons I had such a lead on everyone that didn't stress me out because no one was going to catch me. But even this year, I was getting stressed out with things, and I was at the airport in California, and, Sean actually said he didn't know if he had gotten back into first or anything. And I thought that I was mind boggled by that. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Like,
you don't know
and
what?
He's like, I don't look at points. He's like, we don't count points. I don't look at them. And so in Texas, I kind of followed up with him on that one night at the pitch. And he's like, yep, don't count them. Don't look at me. He's like, that is not going to change and should not change how you race. It should not change how hard you try. And, he kind of politely told me, because my thing was I wasn't always checking points, but I had a lot of people texting me constantly about them and doing the math. And, he's like, you basically very nicely need to tell them to, PG it, but stop it.
I know him, so I know what he said.
I was kind of able to stop that towards the end of the year, and I think that'll be really beneficial to me this year, just not really giving a crap about it and just running my race every time and just doing my best every time, because where I stand in the points should not affect, the effort that's put in for your confidence.
And you're 100% right. The mental part, people don't get the mental, like what it does to your mind in the competition. I mean, it is severe, and you gotta, I think it's like Jake Coughlin, he actually does yoga at the track. If I looked at one time, I mean, you have to like clear your head before you get in that car. Yeah,
especially when you're struggling, right? Like I think it's pretty well known that, my car had issues towards the end of the year, and, we weren't turning on wind lights, and, there were times we were a tenth behind my teammate's car. So for me, I really had to kind of lock in on my side of things to not let those get to me, because, obviously, it gets stressful, and, you start to get down on yourself. So, I totally agree with all of that, and just every driver, I think, has their routine with how they prepare for a race.
Yeah. And and what I love too is your teammate, one of your teammates, you have several, Matt Cumming, he won his division or his region too.
Yeah. So yeah, that was really fun to share with him. And he came obviously second in the championship too. So it was pretty fun racing with a teammate, and just, you have someone you can kind of, put ideas out to, or, as a new driver kind of say, hey, like, how do you do this? So it's good to have kind of an ear to go off of someone who's been driving these cars for a while.
Yeah, it's like I'm under the 100% belief you never stop learning. You are always, every race, every whatever, you're still gonna be learning no matter what you do at the track. Driver, crew, social media, you're gonna be learning something new all the time.
And yeah, I mean, that's so important too, because like even for me, there's always ways you can improve. Even when I won my first national event against Sean, I remember on the flight, I was going over the pictures I had taken of the race pack. I was rewatching video footage, looking at my slips, and nitpicking my driving, even though I'd won the race, right? Because even though you won, there's still things you're going to notice. Hey, mental note, for the next race.
Oh, yeah. And you have to have somebody to call
you. Enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got
to enjoy it, but still, got to still look at everything, right?
Yeah, and like I said, you got to take it. You have to take the advice from others and learn from them. So no, I 100% get it, and especially looking at the tapes too. Because I was talking to Maddie Gordon. She's like, that's how she learned to do her Top Alcohol Funny Cars, watching in-car shots.
Oh yeah, so many in-car shots, and now that I have enough of myself, I'm able to, kind of watch those videos. But yeah, I watch a lot of video footage, and just, always trying to learn and better myself as a driver. So, so I'm not the one letting my team down if it comes to that.
Oh, pressure. That's where mental health comes back into it again too. And so,
yes,
when you're not racing, what do you do when you're not racing? We know you play hockey, but alcohol people, it's like they're always working. So what do you do? And I know you're at your job today. So what do you do when you're not racing?
Yeah, I'm a pretty busy bee. I don't really give myself downtime. So I'm in the medical field. And then I also do some high performance driving, like on the road courses for Porsche as an instructor. So I'm not great at sitting down. I'm ADHD off the wall. So I'm kind of always moving on the go and working.
You're talking to the same girl. I'm like, I'm recording this from the TV station. And then, after this, I'll be doing some stuff for Competition Plus. So no, I'm the same thing. Can't sit still. Can't do that.
Right. No, it's a good attribute. I think all of us racers too, and people working are probably a little bit on the crazy side with the ADHD.
Oh yeah.
And I think it makes you a good driver, right? And just always kind of striving to be your best and keeping up the workload.
Oh, now we've come to the time where we get to give some shout outs to your sponsors in your team. So you have your main sponsors back this year?
Yeah, so Kayla Menzel with Diesel Excavating. That's a local company in Edmonton. Obviously, excavating company is in the name. So they do, residential stuff, but then, they also do a lot of, big companies. They just did a hockey rink. And he also races as well. He does Top Sportsman, has a bottom bulb car. Kind of watched me grow up racing and came on board in a really huge way last year, and super excited to maintain that relationship heading into 2026. Really cool having like a hometown kind of name and racer, supporting you, who watched you, grow up into it.
Yeah.
And then we also have Maxima Racing Oils on the car. So Troy Green's our Maxima guy. He's been great to us, and their products are just amazing too. When we made the switch and, to them in the Nitro car, just immediate differences compared to their competitor. Gunk, as you know, we have kind of the primary Gunk car, but they're also on my car. So they're kind of do a lot of stuff in Norwalk as well. So it was really cool to win that race for them. CP Carrillo, also another great sponsor on our car. Simpson Race Products has been with me, gosh, I don't even know how long, back to my junior days. So they're amazing. I never have to worry about my gear and all that. The slow down, move up over movement, also on both of our cars. And then just the array of, different product sponsors that are on the cars, and, a really key component to making these cars run and helping all the teams out.
And I was going to say, no, I almost forgot my question. But so this year do you have your schedule planned out yet? Like, are you going to race just NHRA, or are you going to dip your toe over to the IHRA side too?
So I haven't made any commitments to IHRA yet.
Okay.
I'd love to maybe at some point go for an Ironman. Up until I was my last year juniors, my home track was IHRA.
Oh, cool.
So I have some pretty, IHRA is close to my heart. I ran the Memphis World Finals, and I have, a couple pretty nice Ironmans sitting in my trophy case. So I'd love to go for another one, but I have 10 national events on my schedule this year, and then 3 regionals. Yeah, 3 regionals as well. So I'll be basically the same as last year. However, I've added in Gainesville, whereas I didn't run Gainesville last year because Matt ran it and they had the funny car out. And then Brainerd national event as well. So super excited for the zoo. I've heard great things about it. And Gainesville too. Excited for 2 weeks in Florida because we'll be staying down for the baby gators as well. And then Chicago will be another new track for me this year.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to see you down in Gainesville then, because I got my flight booked, so I'll be in Gainesville, and it is, and yeah, it's especially nice to get out of the cold. But the Brainerd track, oh my gosh, I was going to ask you if you've ever been there, because that's like, to me, that's like the honorary Canadian track, because it's so, it's so close up there.
Yeah, I ran the regional event the weekend before, but then my best friend got married over the national event, and I was one of her bridesmaids. So despite multiple racers telling me to A, tell her to get married in Brainerd, or B, tell her I'll catch her at the next wedding, I could not do that. So missed Brainerd, unfortunately, but, I've heard a lot of stories, and, I'm super excited to head there this year.
Well, yeah, because like I said, that's my track where I grew up at, and it's never just the American anthem. It's always the American anthem and the Canadian anthem, which I know most of the words to from going to there. And way before your time, there's Ken Murray Racing, and the guys from up there, they were crazy Canadians. I'm like, are all Canadians like these drag racers? Mom's like, no, just them guys. But
yeah, it's still pretty far from me because it's more out west or east, sorry. So still a bit of a 3-hour flight, but it's always fun, when you go to those tracks and then, us Canadians can spot the other Canadians pretty quickly. So, it's always fun when you run into them. Same with Vegas. A lot of kind of the Western Canadians fly down for that. So always a great experience at that track, just kind of seeing everyone from back home down there at those races.
Like I said, I get called honorary. I get mistaken a lot because when my O's come out, and I was just talking to my mom, so my O's may be coming out too, and they're like, "Are you from Canada?" I'm like, "No, Minnesota. We're close, but no cigar."
Oh yeah, especially Matt. He started to catch on to it a lot throughout the season. They kind of look at you and be like, "You say that weird," and then you kind of get mocked for it the rest of the year. But it's all in good fun. We talk weird sometimes. So, but the O's thing is a big thing. When Donnie was installing the wrap, he actually looked over at me and he's like, "It's the O's. That's what it is."
Yes.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that and bag. Those are the two ones I get.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. Or the constant sorry.
Oh yeah. I get that a lot too. That's right. And like I said, I just talked to my mom earlier, so I know. And then when I talk to other people, yeah, like I said, it just comes out. So it'll be nice. We'll get together in Florida and we'll northern talk. And now is the time. Tell us, we want to follow your adventure. We want to, learn more about you this year. So tell us on social media, where can people find you?
Yeah, so best place to find me and keep up with me is on Instagram. So it's at McKenna6871. So MCKENNA 6871. I am on Facebook. People want to follow me there. It is just my kind of personal page, McKenna Bold. But Instagram, I'm pretty active on, posting race updates and all of that.
Yeah, and the Randy Meyer page, too, they make sure to post for you, too, because I think when I've been at races, I've sent her pictures, too. I'm like, I didn't see anybody, so here's a couple pictures for you.
Yes, no, they're always posting great content. We have, Megan running our social media pages. John comes out and does video at a lot of our races as well. And then, Sadie does a lot of work for me. So there's always media going out, and Instagram is the best place to find that. My car number did change this year. It's number 8. Nice. However, my Instagram handle still is 6871. I didn't really think of that.
That's okay.
In years past, so it'll just stay that. Even though I was signing hero cards, now I'm like, maybe I should have been signing my number if it's just going to be changing all the time.
Now it's a collector's item.
Right?
Yeah. They can be like, I knew her and I got her autograph when she was this number.
Right.
It's just a collector's item now. Well, I'm so glad you could join me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. And I cannot wait to see you in person and watch you down in Gainesville.
Yes, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you in person. I'm super excited to get started with the season and, hoping to just have a good start to the year and kind of keep momentum going through the whole year. And, hopefully by the end of the year, we're in some championship talks.
Heck yeah. You're coming back on the show then, end of the season. I'm saying it now, back on the show, talking to the champion.
All right. Save the day. Let's hope it happens.
Thanks. Thanks again to McKenna for coming on the show, and thank you for listening. I'm Nikki Clark, and this is Women Take the Wheel. Be sure to connect and follow on Facebook when you search for Women Take the Wheel podcast. And be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast right now on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network,
This is Women Take the Wheel.
with Nikki Clark. Follow and subscribe to this podcast now and discover even more great podcasts on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Online at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
AllIndianaPodcastNetwork.com.